Hey everybody, welcome back to another 1991 Honda CRX SI video. Well, this week I'm going to change this front bumper cover. Stay tuned. When I got this car, I knew that it had some cosmetic damage to the plastic impact strip right there. And this is textured plastic. It's not really repairable. I mean, you could technically repair it, but it's never going to look right. It's never going to look the same. It's just unpainted textured plastic. So I did some research and I actually found a brand new bumper cover, which I have painted. And I did not film any of that process. It just took several days. Was very tedious to try to get it to look decent, but I am going to show the swapping of this cover. And I do have the factory SI spoiler or lip, whatever you want to call it. And so I will clean that up and install it on the new one. So there's other videos on YouTube about swapping and removing front bumper covers. I mean, it looks to be pretty simple. You got to remove these lights, some bolts back there, a couple Phillips screws on each side and a few underneath, I believe, and we'll swap it out. So I'm going to get going on this. All right, a little progress update. I've got the lights out, the turn signals and the marker lights. I've got the two screws out on each side over there. And in here, you can see there are, let me turn the light on for you. A couple of bolts, those two on the left for each side. And then I think there are a couple underneath. I'm going to remove the entire assembly, the absorber and the bumper reinforcement along with the cover, then I'll change everything over. All right, one thing that really bugs me about older cars with wind-up windows is when the cranks are at different angles when the windows are up and when the windows are down. So I'm gonna fix that. They're both gonna be the same. So I think I just need to use this pry tool and look for the little clip that's in there and pull that out, which is what I'm gonna do. All right, I was able to actually just pull on mine a little bit and it popped off with the clip still attached to this right here. And I popped it off with the pick tool and it flew under the car, so I've got to get it, but it was relatively easy. It's going to allow me to go ahead and clean this up really well, and then I'm going to clock them both the same way. All right, after it's nice and cleaned, I decided I'm going to clock them both just like this, which gives a convenient angle. The window is all the way up right now, so they'll both look like that. And my hope is that the sprocket on that one over there will allow that one to be clocked exactly the same. So if not, it's going to be a lot better than that, I can tell you for sure. Flat trim and fabric dye. It's all about the details. These get really faded on the bottom. Not at all faded on the top and the sides, just the bottom where the sun hits for 30 plus years. Little details make all the difference. And with yet another random bit, I took off the cowl panel right there and I'm gonna repaint it, but of course, underneath it is pretty dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that, and tomorrow when it's light, I'll repaint that in the SEM trim black and rejuvenate the rubber weather strip that goes along there, and we'll reinstall it. Let's clean it. Why am I cleaning this? Well, since you'll never see it, well, it just makes me feel better. I'll finish it up. Black box right there, that's the fresh air vent. On the driver's side left, there's a little, I guess, lever in there that allows you to bring fresh air into the cabin. So that's the intake for it. Time to change that water. I'm gonna give it a round 2, rinse it off, dry it off, and then we'll be done. All right, you join me once again in my dedicated paint booth, and I'm gonna give this a couple coats of the SEM trim black. And there was a bit of a gouge right there, and I put some putty in it, so hopefully that'll help a little bit. But this is just a little faded, needs to be done. Got the caps as well. So I'll give it some coats. All right, with this cowl panel all dried, it's now time to finagle it back into its home, which is a little difficult trying to get it around the hinge. I mean, not difficult, but this is pretty fragile, so I don't want to bend it. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that and put everything back together. It looks a lot better. It's all one uniform color, and now of course everything under there is nice and clean. I could see all the nastiness through the grate, and it really bothered me. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together. All right, putting the last screw cover in place. It's kind of difficult with the angle. Only going one way. And I know you can't see it, but there we go, snapped into place. Now for the wiper arms, and I'll finish with this part of the project. And the finished product. Pretty happy with the way it turned out. Much cleaner, much more uniform. One more project done. On to the next one. Well, it's been about 3 weeks since I started screwing with this front bumper cover, and it's finally done. I had to, when I was removing it, I accidentally broke one of the bumper guides for this side over here, and it's very brittle plastic. And so I had to track down a used one on eBay, and it took about 2 weeks to actually more closer to 3 weeks for it to get to me. I did paint the bumper cover, as you can see, and I'm super happy with the color match. And I bought the supplies from paintscratch.com. I actually sent them the color code of the car, and they custom mixed in a spray can. I bought 4 cans of that, of the R63, I believe the paint code is. Let's see right here. Yep, R63 Rio Red. And there is a control number in your VIN. Mine happened to be S, and I asked for that to get the right hue. So could not be more pleased with the color match. And I did do a 2K clear coat over top. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those cans handy, but it is the 2K clear that everybody buys, the Glamour. I'll put a link in the description for you. Now, as far as the bumper cover itself goes, this is an aftermarket cover, and that I can tell, there's only one being made right now. I mean, these are old vehicles, so the cover itself is mostly okay. Unfortunately, I do have a problem with the fitment on both sides, and it may not come through on camera, but at least, I mean, the gap is much larger than it should be, but I will say, at least both sides are relatively even. I screwed around with this for a week, removing, installing, trying to get it into place. And I mean, the bottom line is the aftermarket new bumper cover just is slightly different. I still have the old one, and I am going to leave this for now. I am going to continue to kind of finesse it and try to get the sides to fit a little bit better. The problem is that there's a bumper guide that's right here, a black plastic guide which locates the cover top to bottom, and then there's what's called a bumper stay, and it's a white piece of plastic right here where on the back side the cover screws into. Now the problem being is that bumper stay attaches to some fairly flimsy metal right there, and it's just not made to resist, you know, a plastic bumper cover that really isn't doesn't fit very well. So I mean, you know, the problem is this really needs to go in just a bit. I can live with this gap here. It's probably larger than it should be, but at this point, I mean, barring me finding you know, another perfect condition 90-91 cover, this is what I'm gonna have to stay with. So overall, I guess I'm pretty satisfied with it. I wish the fitment was just a little bit better, but you know, what can you do? Oh, one thing I didn't show is I did end up buying a brand new front license plate holder. This is a Honda part, and I'll put a link in the description. It is still available. I did put a clear film on those lenses right there, because those are, they were new old stock lenses that I bought, and they're very, very, very rare at this point. And I paid a lot of money for just those 2 lenses, not with the housing. Didn't need the housing, had the original ones. So I did put a clear cover over it, you know, like a stone guard, just to prevent chipping and cracking, you know, in the future. So what's next for the car? Well, there's lots of other little projects coming, but mostly I've just been enjoying the car. I really like taking this to Cars and Coffee, taking it on short drives. It's a fun car, very simple in design. It's very light, gets amazing fuel economy. I filled this up the day I bought it, and that was almost 2 months ago. And I think I still have half a tank of gas out of all the times I've driven it. So really can't complain about this. I am glad that I got it, and I guess for now that'll do it. One more project done, and it sits in the garage next to its sister, the '89 Prelude SI. These were definitely two dream cars of mine. I'm glad I have them both. So like I said, lots of little projects coming for the CRX. Stay tuned. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any experience with this particular bumper cover and its fitment. I mean, side by side, this is virtually identical to the factory. It just, I don't know if it's just not quite as pliable on the sides or what, but eventually I'm sure that I'll figure out a way to get both of these sides kind of sucked in a little bit. So until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.